Hey boys and girls, welcome back to Mr. Isof. So, example 4, follow along as I read. In a recent year, Harvard University's freshman class had 18% African American students. If this represented 380 students, how many students were admitted to the freshman class? Okay, so in this one, it looks like Mr. Isof might be a little bit more challenging to use because I don't see is or of anywhere in here. So what we know is that here, so example 4, is that what percent were African American? 18%. And I think we're just going to do this one. Part over whole equals percent over 100, because this is always the default. This is what Mr. Isof is based out of, is this one right here. So this is the default. So if I don't know Mr. Isof, I'm going back to this. This is where I need to go. And so now, I'll go back to the problem. In recent year, Harvard University's freshman class had 18% African American students. If this represented 380 students, how many students were admitted to freshman class? So, that would mean that it asks for how many total students in the freshman class. The African American students are just part of that. They're a part. So I need to actually read it and figure out what it's telling me. And so it's telling me that the 380 is the part. That's the 18% of the total class. So I need to really think about what this means and how I put this in here before I do it. So 18x equals 380, and then I have two zeros at the end because I multiply by 100. That's 38 thou. Divide by 18. 38,000 divided by 18. Boop. And that is, you can't have 0.1 people. That doesn't make sense. So I'm just going to round to 2,111 people in the freshman class at Harvard. There you go. Okay, now your turn. I do, you do. This is how we doing this one. Here you go. 8 students in an Algebra 1 class received a grade of A in the class. If this represents 19% of the class, how many students are in the class? Go ahead and solve this. Pause the video. Do it in your notebook. All right, cool. Let's see how we did it. All right. So 8 students got an A. How many total students? And that was 19% out of the total students. And so 90% of the class, how many students are in the class? That is the total. Let's see if you got it. 19x equals 800 divided by 19. 800 divided by 19 is about 42. So there's about 42 people in the class total. So if there's 19 people that got, 8 people that got an A, and that's 19%, that means 42 people. That makes sense. All right, got it. 2 more. Doing good. 2 more. Get your paper ready. Always have your paper ready. Notebook is very important. So, example 5. What is 1/6 of 30% of 80? So this one has is of. This is really complicated. Damn. Okay. So I'm gonna write it down in my notebook. What is 1/6 of 30% of 80? So example 5. Write this down with me. Was 1/6 of 30% of 80. There it is right there if you need it again. Okay, so in this one, it's actually 2 problems in one. And so I'm going to actually isolate it. So I'm going to do this one first, the one that's farther away. So 30% of 80. Now I can do Mr. Isof right here, but I know from the last lesson that with these, 30% I can change to a decimal, which is 30 hundredths out of 100. Of means multiply. I can multiply by 80. So that would be 3/10, I don't need the 0 at the end, times 80 is 24. So that's 24 here. So this part is 24. So I want 1/6, let's bring this down, of 24. What is 1/6 of 24? Well, how do you do that? Well, if you find a half of something, what's half of 24? That's 12, right? What's a fourth That's 6, right? So when you have a sixth of something or a half of something, you're actually just dividing by the denominator. So this is actually 24 divided by 6. I'm breaking 24 into 6 parts. So that's going to be, boop, 4. Got it. So 1/6 of 24 is 4. Boop, that's the whole problem right there. Your turn now. Yay! What is 1/9 of 10% of 900? Go. All right, let's see if you got it. So 10% of 900 is 90. You can just move the decimal. You don't actually have to do that on your calculator. Now you want 1/9 of 90. So you're dividing 90 by 9, which is, boop, 10. Whoop, hopefully you got it. All right, last but not least, here you go. Okay. Last one, example 6. Okay, 50%, reading right here, 50% of a given number is 40. I'm writing this down in my notebook right now. You should do the same. 50% of a given number is 40. What is 20% of that number? Boop. Okay. So, look in here. So this is actually another double one. 50% of a given number is 40. So this right here is Mr. Isof. Is over of equals percentage over 100. So 50%, let's lock that in. Percent, always lock it in first. Of a given number. Of is a given number. I don't know what that is. So that's x. So of and x are paired together. And then is 40 right there. So it's going to be 40 over x. So this right here, well, let's look at this relationship. See, 50 to 100, that's times 2, right? That's a half. So what would make this fraction equal to a half? That would be, I can cross multiply and divide, but that would be 80, right? 40 over 80 is the same as a half. This is a half, this is a half. And so 80 is the answer to the top part. Is that the final answer? No. Because now I want what's 20% of that number. That number is 80. So 20% of 80, and I can just do this, 20% of 80. Because I turn this to a decimal and I multiply, because it says of that number, which is 80. And that's going to be 20% of 80 is 16. There you go. Bam. That is the answer. Your turn. Last one. Good work. 15% of a given number is 50. What is 40% of that number? Go. All right, here you go. 50% of a given number. Sorry, 15% of a given number is 50. So this should be the first part, 15%, like that. So then cross multiply. 15x equals 5,000 divided by 15. 5,000 divided by 15 is 33. Sorry, 333 and 3/10 repeating. Now, what do we have to do last but not least? We have to find 40% of that number. So 40% of that number, so multiply this by 4/10, and I get 133 and 3 repeating. Bam, there you go. So that's the final answer right there. Good work, everybody. Keep crushing these problems. Good job.